Hello fellow retro gamers and other video game collectors. This is Doug, aka Vintage Game Crazy, and I actually wanted to take a few minutes and just do a quick video using my cell phone. I have no video editing skills, so you'll have to bear with me, but I wanted to show off a little bit of my game room. It's actually grown rather large. It's still a work in progress. The basement is still not quite finished. It's one of the joys you have to deal with living in a 130-plus-year-old house. So this is actually in my repair shop. I've done another video on this before, so I'm not going to show off the whole repair shop, but I don't have room for this in the main game room, so this is boxed video game systems and a decent amount of accessories. I collect a decent amount of game systems, and I have boxes for quite a few of them. This isn't all of them. Maybe this isn't quite as much as you guys would think I have, but I still have quite a few, and a couple of pretty obscure ones here. There is an Amstrad GX4000, VIC-20, an Arcadia 2001, Atari 7800. Up top here, way up into the ceiling, you can see quite a bit of accessories and just random box stuff. There is a box for a ceramic white PlayStation 2 right there, which is pretty obscure. Over here is just some additional box stuff. Quite a bit of big box PC games, and I actually even have more than this, but not all of them are out right now. But this is just the overflow of the collection. Here you can see something probably very few have ever seen in person, let alone even heard of. This is a Toshiba Visicom, a very obscure, extremely rare and expensive Japanese game system released in the 1970s. So we'll pan over to here. I'm going to turn the light off. You can see I have a decent collection of records, and this is an area that needs quite a bit of work and waterproofing. I got a furnace, but this is the hallway and the staircase upstairs. But as I come over here, this is my little arcade room. I keep several arcade machines on hand, just for the collection. You can see a Space Invaders there that needs quite a bit of work and repair. I have all the equipment to make it work, but not original. It still needs the mirror inside and an original monitor. Right now all it has is a flat screen monitor, which I'd like to replace. And I also have two arcade 1-ups. I got some rope lighting up top here to add some ambiance, and kind of a vintage Coca-Cola light, along with an old vintage table with some chairs that kind of fit the atmosphere here. So if I come over here, see the ceiling's not finished. There's no way to ever do it in this basement. Just some other vintage memorabilia, an old early 1980s sheet of arcade themed stickers, a couple of modern signs. That's a modern Vectrex poster. Also done another quick video of this right here. This is all of my 1970s game systems. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. You can look up another video on my YouTube page. But this is just everything released in North America for the 1970s, aside from a couple of prototypes, including a Unisonic Champion 2711 and a Video Sport. There are only about 10 to 15 of each of those two consoles known to exist. Over here is just where I'm going to end up putting the shelf I build for all my records, so I can get them out from under the stairs. And I also have a pretty large CD collection. I collect a ton of Christian rock music and pop music, including vinyl records from the 80s all the way up through the 2000s. That's another big collection of mine. This is the entrance into the main game room here. I'll give you a little bit of a panoramic view just so you can kind of get an idea of the atmosphere. The video doesn't actually do it justice. It's a little bit dimmer than this. It's adding a lot of light. It actually has a lot better atmosphere. I'll go ahead and close the door here. I'm going to turn on some lights. It's going to get a little bit bright here. And I'll just kind of walk around and go over everything. This is a mix of some movies, some modern stuff. I don't collect a lot of it. I don't really collect modern at all. don't even know why I keep half the systems, but I have just about all of them right now but a PS5. But there is Wii, lots of movies, PS3, you know, just stuff I play. You know, a mix of everything else right here. So a lot of fun stuff I never get around to touching. You know, some PSP, some Xbox One, Dreamcast, Game Wave. Most people probably not that familiar with that. This is the continuation of the pretty large PlayStation collection. I have about 550 PlayStation games, you know, for the original PlayStation. So let me turn my camera back on here. Here's just an extra chair. This is an area where I don't have any shelving built yet. That's for future. I'm actually going to need to build it real soon because I'm running out of space. You can see here, I found this at a thrift shop. I think it's custom made. It's a Squall Leon Heart from Final Fantasy VIII, and it's oil on canvas. It was really cool. I don't remember what I paid for it. I found it somewhere in the north side of Chicago. Had to grab it. Just a Mario poster. Sorry there, I put my finger in front of the camera. Quite a few little just Mario figures and stuff. I have a reasonable Nintendo 64 collection, maybe about 150 games. Not a big fan of it, but I do buy them when I get them. This is all my boxed Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. It's a little bit disorganized. A small GameCube collection and some DS. A few import Nintendo 64 games. And, you know, if I crouch down, handhelds, a 2DS, a Game Boy Advance, a couple of PSPs. One I'm missing nowadays is a Vita. I don't have one anymore. I sold them when customers at my store wanted them. If I come up here, this is all Super Nintendo. Probably about 350 games for that, loose unboxed. You can kind of see I can pan all the way down. I actually have a lot of heavy hitters. One of the big ones I'm missing nowadays is Earthbound. I've actually owned a few copies of it in the past. I've sold it. But I got a lot of the other, you know, larger, you know, heavy hitters. So a ton of boxed Nintendo stuff. Probably 150, 175 Nintendo games boxed and complete. You can kind of see everything's really tight. Just packed in here. I have about 650 original Nintendo games. I'll back out a little bit so you can get a little bit better view. Still a little bit disorganized, not perfect. You can see down there I have about 150 Famicom games. So I'm going to go up a little bit. I actually just picked this Funkoland sign up. It's a remake. You can get them on eBay for about 20 bucks. Just a ton of nostalgia for that store. So many good memories. Really miss that place. You know, I'll back out towards behind the couches here now. You can see I have a ton of game systems out here. You can't even see all the ones on the bottom. Underneath the Sega Master System is a TRS-80 model, you know, Coco Model 3, and there's an Atari 7800 tucked down there that you can't see. This entertainment center is actually almost 13 feet wide. It may not look like it. Maybe you can see it just with the amount of consoles on it. It's built to hold, I'm guessing, about 1,000 pounds, and I'm glad I did. This TV weighs almost 240 pounds. This is a Sony Trinitron 36-inch, actually 37-inch TV, and it has an absolutely amazing picture, full component. You can see all the green lights down there. That's actually a component selector. And then I have several more systems here. You can see just an assortment. I have most of the stuff from the 90s. I'm missing some of the real expensive ones. You can see an XI and a Neo Geo CD on the bottom, a Super Nintendo. There is a Funtech A-Can, which is extremely rare Korean exclusive console. I have one game for that. Can't find more. You can see a TurboGrafx 16. There's a US Neo Geo AES system. I actually have a box for that. It's a silver bundle. Just got that several months back. Very happy to finally have a Neo Geo. You can see quite a few other systems. You know, 3DO, a Jaguar. I even have a Jaguar CD, but it needs a little bit of repair, so it's put away. And you know, you can move over here into some more of the modern systems. Got an Xbox Series S hooked up right now. But you can see just about everything else. Don't have an Xbox One down here. That's upstairs in the family room. There's a PS4 Pro I actually just picked up at a pawn shop for $5. Just the bare console, and that actually works. I just had to buy a controller for it. And you can see most of the other consoles. There's a new one in the corner on the bottom left there. Come up here, I will hit the button so this comes back up. This is a 46-inch flat screen TV. It's actually just an old one. It's not 4K for the Xbox Series S. I'm not sure if I want one. I gotta sacrifice space. This TV has everything on it, including S-Video. It has several component inputs. It has VGA. Dreamcast works on it, no problem. So I got to make sacrifices, so I'm not sure if I want a 4K TV. Over here is some Genesis overflow. And then I own about 550 North American Sega Genesis games. You can see a handful of loose carts up there on the left. I have a decent amount of boxed Game Gear stuff. My one highlight, if I can find it real quick, is actually a complete, 100% complete Fantastic Dizzy. And just a ton of other boxed Sega Genesis games. I even have Musha, and I also have Crusader Ascenti, though they're up top there. They are loose. I don't think I'll ever find a box for it, either of those. There's a complete Lethal Enforcers. Just a bunch of other miscellaneous stuff. A complete Pure Solar, that's actually brand new sealed. This here is a complete US Sega Master System collection, missing a couple of manuals. Unfortunately, James Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing is a reprint artwork for the case. The cartridge is original, but I do not have an official case for it. I don't think I ever will. So quite a few imports on the one row there. Collect quite a bit of that stuff. Some 32X. And I got a space heater down here because it's pretty cold. I'm not sure if I can move this up. Quite a bit of Sega CD stuff, some loose stuff. I got a loose copy of the Space Adventure many years ago for $2. Couldn't pass that up. Got about 110 Sega CD games. Over here, there's a boxed Gamecom. A decent amount of Sega Saturn stuff. I've sold a lot of my heavy hitters over the days, in the years. I've even had stuff like Magic Knight Ray Earth that I kind of regret selling for the prices now, but I've owned quite a few like that. This is a bunch of European exclusive Arcadia 2001 clone games. Gotta bend down here. There is a Bandai Playdia game, and then the purple box there is the one lone Funtech A-Can game I have. Down here is a collection of about 65 or 70 TurboGrafx and TurboGrafx CD games. Down on the bottom is a ton of Supervision stuff. I think it's GameMate games on the left. Again, extremely obscure stuff. Most people aren't going to be familiar with that. Over here, there's it's kind of messy, my Cougar Boy collection. N-Gage, a bunch of Intellivision. My Intellivision collection, I'm actually pretty close. I'm probably only about 20 cartridges away. And I even have a few of the expensive ones. Up here's a bunch of just memorabilia. A bunch of Yonoid stuff and California Raisins. And some McDonald's memorabilia. It's just some stuff from childhood that I have great memories of, and I love the artwork. I'm not a big Atari 2600 collector. I have tons of loose cartridges, but I don't have a lot of boxed. And I got about 350 games, but I don't actually go after everything real hard. I just kind of let it come to me. A little bit too big of a console library for my taste. This is 3DO, some PC stuff over on the left. There's an old boxed King's Quest. A couple 3DO games not here. They're over on the bench testing a system. I got about 75 CDI games. Quite a few are loose disc. There's quite a few complete. Some Lynx. Lynx and Jaguar, I'm at about 35 apiece. There's a decent Jaguar CD collection there. Up top, if I come up here, is a GameX Color, which is a portable Famicom clone in the box. That's a Model 1 Lynx. That's actually in excellent condition other than the outside of the box. Everything else is mint. It's just sun faded. A couple of action figures and some Pac-Man memorabilia. This is my Game Mate console, handheld. Down here, you can see I collect a ton of obscure stuff. End gauges. I can't even remember what this purple thing's called. It's a pretty weird LCD based, almost like a Tiger Electronics handheld from the 90s. There is my Mega Ducks, or it plays the Cougar Boy Mega Duck library. That doesn't even work right, but it's pretty hard to find and not sold in America. There's a Gamecom Pocket Pro, that's bad. Another Gamecom, Game Boy Color, boxed Game Gear, Sports Edition. One of my Game Gears I have out because I'm playing with it. I actually want to get rid of this entire cabinet because it doesn't fit anything right. It just works for now. There's a Super Mario World wristwatch game, a complete US library of Pokemon mini games, a couple of wristwatches, a Game Boy wristwatch and a Zelda Game Watch. This is another extraordinarily rare system, Palmtech Super Micro. There's probably only about 40 of these known to exist. They were quite a failure, but I'm happy to have it. Down here is a unfortunately not working Hartung Game Master. And there is a Swan Crystal with a handful of games, a Tiger R-Zone Super Screen. And down on the bottom here is a Coleco Total Control 4. So it's actually come down to the fact that the only thing from the 80s I'm missing, other than some bizarre edutainment stuff, is an Adventure Vision. Literally everything else I have, other than unreleased prototypes. I'm actually going to reach back here and turn on the light so we can see in the back here. This is just a little bit more of a storage area. It's a little cluttered and messy, just not an easy way to store everything. There's a 3DO flight stick, a Children's Discovery System in the box. That I'm actually missing one game for, computer programming. Almost unobtainably rare. Everything else is boxed. This is a pretty decent magazine and strategy guide collection. Most of it's all organized. If I come back up to the top here, it's just some other real obscure Atari stuff. I have a full US library of Atari 7800. Not all complete in box. Cartridge 1 and 2 for a Telstar arcade. A full US library including Bounty Bob Strikes Back for 5200. Again, not all in the box. I'll try to bend down a little bit here. This is that Children's Discovery System, missing cartridge 16. More 5200 stuff. Over here is some more Creatronic Cougar Boy and Mega Duck stuff. Intex Select a game, I actually own one of those. I have 2 of the 6 games for it. This is kind of a mess. I can stand it up. But this is, I don't have a very big Astrocade collection, but I do have one, and I have a couple at consoles. Quite a bit of TRS-80 Coco stuff. And there's some floppy disk games. And I collect the most weird stuff. This is a Spectra Video SVI cassette. And these, most people have never seen these, even the hardcore collectors. These are reproduction boxes, but these are APF Imagination Machine cassette software. Probably could count the number of copies of any one of these cassettes on one hand known to exist. They are that rare. They are holy grail rare, and they could be possibly worth hundreds apiece. I do have a handful of those. If you look over here, I have this is all Game Boy. That's Game Boy Color. This is just Game Boy. These 2 drawers here are all Sega Game Gear games. I'm missing 8 American games for a full Game Gear library, and they're all cheap. I just got a muster up the courage to overspend for shipping on eBay. I'm going to go ahead and open this up real quick just to show it off. NTEX, I'm not going to pull it all the way out. That's an NTEX Selecta game. I do own one of those. Again, like I said, I have two cartridges for it. In here, I won't open each of these, but this is all three of these are full of Game Boy Advance games, just packed. And I do have quite a few of the heavy hitters too. A lot of just miscellaneous consoles, a couple of different versions of the Intellivision, modded Sega Genesis. There's my US Neo Geo AES silver box. Most people don't realize that the silver box even exists. It's actually not quite as valuable by a long shot to the gold version, but it is actually significantly rarer to find this version in the box. There's a European Sega Genesis console, and a Pong console, a Vectrex, some Game Gear stuff, and those are a couple of Game Boy Advances and Game Boys. All of these bins down here, I mean, I can go through a few of them. They're kind of hard to pull out, but they're all various stuff. You can see I have it's a non-working Turbo Duo, but I do have one. Yeah, Commodore stuff down here. A little bit hard to see. There's a bunch of Atari computer stuff. This is going to be a little bit hard to show. There's very little room back here, but this is all TI-99 4A stuff. Down to the bottom, you know, you get into some other. I got ColecoVision, Atari 5200, a bunch of random Sega Genesis joysticks, stuff like that. 32X, from region-free PlayStation, Atari 5200, another one. I have like half a dozen of them. This is a massive bin of probably about 1,000 pieces. Empty use manuals and artwork for games. I just have tons of that stuff. Really getting hard to show all this stuff off, but it's worth showing. I'm not going to pull these out very well. This is all Tiger Electronics handhelds and some other miscellaneous stuff like that. I got not a ton of those, but a decent amount. I'm actually going to just back up and pan. I apologize for the real shaky camera. It's just there's no room to stand and show this off real efficiently. But this is all of my early 80s and late 70s, you know, all that kind of stuff. This whole wall is just packed. It's organized pretty well, but it's not displayed nicely. The entire top row here is boxed Commodore 64 floppy disk games and software. I'll try to get down to the end and show it. There's a complete US Microvision collection and a bunch more Commodore 64 software. Here's my loose cartridge collection. Again, a bunch of heavy hitters. I do have a complete in-box US, I can't remember the name of this now, RCA Studio 2. I'll show off here is the one lone Visicom cartridge I have for that console I briefly showed before. I do have the 40th anniversary multi-cart and one of the absolute holy grails for the system. I do own a boxed demonstration cartridge. There are only about 8 of those known to exist. This is a complete US Arcadia 2001 collection, minus a few boxes. And there's a handful of imports mixed in there. Odyssey 2, the US collection is complete in box, 100%. Everything shown here down at the end is the board games. A stray SG-1000 cartridge I don't have a working system for anymore. A handful of Odyssey 2 imports. And some other miscellaneous stuff. I have a massive Atari 8-bit collection, well over 100 cartridges, with some, you know, very big ones. Some real big heavy hitters in here that are a little bit hard to see. One of the ones that people are shocked that I've found in the wild is Survival of the Fittest. This turns up almost never. Got it for $20, and didn't know what I found until I even talked to the people online, and they were just shocked that I found it. Another real nice one I found was a boxed complete typo. The other thing I have is a near complete Mattel Aquarius collection for the US. I'm missing Chess, which they've confirmed it's been released in the US. It's the one I don't have. If you can see here, there's a boxed Melody Chase. Missing one overlay. A couple other Holy Grails. This is a manual for extended Microsoft Basic. I'll probably never find the actual cartridge. Even bought myself a homebrew for the Aquarius. So that's nearly finished. This is all TI 99 4A stuff. Nowhere near complete, but it's a nice collection. Vectrex collection is almost complete. I'm missing one regular game, and I'm missing the 3D games. Haven't been real big to buy those because I can't see them right with a bad eye. Probably about a 90 game ColecoVision collection. A couple of the telegames, real rare games right there. Otherwise, I got a ton of ColecoVision stuff. Here's a complete US Channel F collection. Obviously missing several boxes. If anybody's asking about chess, yes, I have it. Or checkers, rather. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. So, yeah, I got that going for me. A bunch of VIC-20 stuff. And then a ton of more TI 99 4A cartridges. There's a handful of decent ones in here. It's just so hard to show everything because it's so tight here. This is a complete US APF MP1000 collection. Missing quite a few boxes, as you can see, but it's here. And then this is a complete Tommy Tutor US collection. Very few boxes. I also have a handful of imports, but it's all here. Someday I might find some boxes. So, actually do have quite a few complete sets of games. I'm probably up to about 17 or 18 full US libraries of games, and about 2 or 3 more that I'm missing quite a bit of, or just missing 1 or 2 for to have complete. Sorry, I have my finger in front of the camera again. So this is just one more quick pan of the full game room here. So the entire game room is about 23 by 13, if I remember right. So there's quite a bit of stuff here. All said and done, I own about 75 to 80 unique game consoles, and I own about 6,000 games. So just wanted to show everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and end this before I start rambling, but go ahead and enjoy. Post some comments if you choose to, and I'll wait to hear from you. Thank you.